Howdy guys, welcome back to Deal by Deal episode 15. The year is 2013 and the property is a piece of land that we bought with a well and septic and utilities, and then we bought a mobile home to bring onto the piece of property to sell as a move-in ready home. We found this deal on Craigslist back when that was a pretty active site, and it already had the well and septic, and so we purchased it and found a mobile home that was for sale that needed to be moved, so it was pretty affordable because they're expensive to move, and we hired a trucking company to move the mobile home to the site that we had purchased. The catch here was that the mobile home wasn't quite ready to be moved, as in it had several additions built onto it, and if you have a mobile home moved with several different bedrooms and stuff built off of it, moving it all in one piece or even moving it all in multiple pieces is very expensive. So we chose to just move the single wide portion of that, and then we did several other things with the additions that came with the property. So we'll come back to what we did with those additions, but when we had the trucking company move the main mobile home to our lot, it was springtime, it was starting to thaw, and it was soft and muddy, and it was very difficult for them to get it to where it was supposed to go, and basically they weren't able to. So once it dried up a little bit more, they did get it to the lot, but not over the well and the septic where it needed to be on the lot. So we had to use the partner's backhoe to finish moving it into position a few weeks later after it was moved, which was quite a bit of work to get it where we wanted, but it did need to be in that spot, and the trucking company wasn't going to be able to get it there with just a semi-truck. So once we had it all moved into place, there was still a lot of work to be done. There was some damage from moving it, which is common, especially on an old mobile home once you bounce it down the road. But there was an aftermarket roof, which is common here in Alaska because of the snow load, and that had taken some damage from the extra weight on it. There were some things like, trim and stuff like that. The heater and the stove and maybe another appliance had to be converted over to the different fuel type, which was propane was what was available there instead of natural gas where the property came from. So those types of things needed to be done, and some basic touch-up paint, and then it needed to be fully skirted and insulated, and get all ready for resale before we were able to put it back on the market. So the way that we financed this property was with a private money investor, and I've got a video recently about how that works, but basically private party lent us money secured against the property, the real estate, and we pay them back monthly with interest until they were paid off. So they've got the security, they make some money, it's a good investment for them, and allows us to do cool projects like this. I will tell you that 10 years later, I still remember how crazy of a mosquito year that was. So that's saying something for here in Alaska, I still remember that. So all in on this project, we were into it for probably about $35,000 plus quite a bit of labor, and we sold it for about $75,000. And of course, we sold it on owner financing as well. So the down payment we received was a truck and some cash also, and then we financed the difference, which was more than we had owed on it, and so we wrapped that original note, meaning when the buyer paid us, part of that went to go pay our investor, and we took the difference until the investor was paid off, and then we enjoyed the cash flow still. So even 10 years later, we're still getting payments on that, though it's almost paid off. Now, in the meantime, the seller did end up defaulting and disappearing after several years, and we ended up getting the property back, having to do a little bit more work on it, and then we resold it. So we didn't get it up to as nice as it was when we sold it the first time, but we also didn't sell it for as much. But it comes out, pretty break even for us as far as the foreclosure that we had to go through. It didn't really make us more money or cost us any money. We did end up getting, a really good return on our money. Not only were we paying interest on what we borrowed, but we were charging interest on the full amount that was left over after the down payment. So we made a good chunk of money on the amount of money spread between what we were into it and what we sold it. We also made a spread on the interest. So it was a very typical TISCO style deal. I ended up driving that truck for a couple months, and then we ended up selling it so that I could split the proceeds with the business partner on that one. And I said we'd come back to the add-ons that we took off of the mobile home before we moved it. And so one of them, or maybe two of them, we just deconstructed for the materials. So there's quite a bit of lumber in it. Some of the stuff like the carpet or whatever went to the dump, I'm sure, and the lumber got repurposed into a shed over at the partner's house, which we used for storing building materials in the future. Another portion of the add-on was a really nice big room that was almost set up like an office. Of course, it was missing a wall because that wall is where it attached to the mobile home, and there was an entry door from that add-on into the mobile home that when we moved the mobile home, we just put a door on it. And then when we moved this, we hired a different building mover to move that add-on over to our property, our light commercial property that was the subject of Deal by Deal episode 5. So we took that structure, moved it over there, then we had to finish building a wall to enclose it entirely, and hooked it up to its own electricity to use as an extra rental unit on our commercial property that was deal number 5. So we're trying to use everything we can and be creative, not just with the add-ons on that, but by working a deal where we utilized the guy's truck as a down payment, so we didn't have to wait for him to sell it. We just took the truck instead. So we do a lot of cool creative things on owner finance deals, and you know, help a lot of people make a lot of money. It works out. If you guys have any real estate needs whatsoever, please reach out. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, and you can find me on any of these other places that you enjoy your content. So thanks very much, really appreciate it.